Hello, welcome back. I have kind of a different video today. I have a sketchbook tour. To be honest, I was a little hesitant about whether I actually was going to give a tour on this sketchbook, and that's really only because this is quite different for me. At least I feel like it's quite different what I've done in here. I bought this sketchbook thinking it would be like my getting familiar with using more materials like mixed media and like incorporating dry materials onto painting, because historically I've always been a painter first, and I still am. I mean, I'm most definitely a painter, but I've just been wanting to get more into like using other dry materials or whatever on top and like playing around with things more, and like I'm trying to just explore more and be more playful maybe, and just like see what materials do. So I got this sketchbook. It's the Hahnemühle 100% cotton watercolor paper sketchbook. It is cold press, and that's what I really like. I know a lot of people like to do mixed media on smoother surfaces, and I think they're both great, and I don't really have a problem either way. But I do just love like a textured water paper surface, especially knowing that I'm gonna probably do painting first. If I weren't painting as my base layer, I could be more open to the smooth papers. But anyway, I really like this sketchbook. I also wasn't gonna show it because I sort of I think a lot of what's in here is maybe not my best work, but that's okay, and that's kind of what a sketchbook's for. It's very much like a learning sketchbook for me. Completing this, there's like very obvious growth in my opinion that happens in here, and so maybe that's exactly the reason why I should show it. So anyway, I hope you enjoy this, and I definitely want to do more sketchbook tours in the future. I will have probably some that are like more of a traditional painting style that I've been doing, or just as my painting style, you know, evolves over time. I'm sure what's in my sketchbooks will show that as well. So I hope you enjoy. Thanks. Okay, so let's talk about the sketchbook in question. This is the Hahnemühle 100% cotton watercolor cold press sketchbook. It does not have the deckled edges. It's just the like straight cut version. And I got this like kind of landscape size. I kind of bounce around in sketchbook sizes. I don't know that I have like a size that I have to go with every time. So this time I have this kind of long landscape, which suits my art since majority of it is a landscape form. The majority of my art is landscapes, so that suits me. And let's get started. I will say, this is a great sketchbook, and for like the quality of the paper, I think it's a good price. If I had one complaint, or not even a complaint, but just one desire, it would be that this were 300 GSM, instead it's like 250. Okay, so I titled it. I don't usually do that because normally my sketchbooks just have, you know, everything in it at the same time, but I sort of got this with mixed media in mind. So I'm very often doing just like swatches on the first page, and I just put the date March to June. Okay, so these are probably like one of the few things I did without the Kuretake watercolors. I don't think I had them at this point. I think these were just either dried gouache or normal watercolors, but these are just some trees. These are like some photos of trees, and I think this is the tree that's outside of my window. So I got started with this one, and I think like a lot of lessons were learned in the very first go. Just like way too much was going on. I think oh no, I did use the Kuretake watercolors because that's what all these swatches are at the beginning. The majority of this sketchbook, I did the painting layer with my Kuretake Gansai Tambi watercolors, these ones right here. Every so often I strayed from that, but for the most part, the entire painted layer, the first layer, is done with this guy. So I used them for this page, and then I went over top with the colored pencils and Neocolor 2s, and it was just too much. It was, you know, you can barely even really tell what's going on. It's trees and a lake and their reflection in the pond in front of it. But yeah, it's not working very well. Things got a little bit better. This was like a photo I just took while we were driving along the highway. These are the 3 materials that I used, which are 2 Daniel Smith watercolor sticks. I only own 3. I have the 2 here. One is like burnt quinacridone scarlet or something like that, or quinacridone burnt scarlet or whatever. And then the raw sienna, so like a red and a yellow. And then this is actually a water-soluble graphite. So instead of a blue, I have a graphite. I think it's cool. What's a little annoying is like, these are supposed to be trees. They look like mountains because I couldn't really achieve a green. I think I was testing this out as far as like a materials I could bring with me in my bag. I didn't end up picking these because I felt like I wanted to be able to produce a true green. Something I've always loved to do is combine, you know, ink and watercolors. So I was just attempting some architectural paintings that I did with my photo references that I took the last time I was in Italy in Siena. I don't particularly care for how this turned out, but I don't have a lot of practice doing stuff like this, so I'm glad I attempted it. This is La Jolla in San Diego, California, and we were there recently in February. We love to go there, and this was just another attempt at like the watercolors with some ink over top, and it's fine. It's like a little more abstract and not as detailed as maybe I would prefer. Again, trying the San Luca. Oh, this is not Siena, this is San Luca, which is just outside of Bologna. I used to live in Bologna, and so San Luca is like a church that's outside of the city up on the hills. It's beautiful, highly recommend. So I was just painting from some photo references that I had. What I love though is like I used all those colors that I showed earlier, and I love how I was still able to achieve these browns and tans and golden colors and the greens, even though none of those exist in my palette. Even though I also don't have any white in the palette, I was still able to achieve all of these colors. So I was really pleased with that, and this was kind of maybe the piece that solidified for me those watercolor, that whole palette, and I thought, oh yeah, I'm going to use this on the rest of the book pretty much. As you can see, a lot of transfer has happened because of the page next to it, which I do not like at all, so we're going to move on. I was just doing some flower, I don't know. This was one of those things where I like started it, was not liking it. I thought, okay, let's do more. Maybe more will cover up how I don't like it, and then more didn't cover it up, so I did even more, and even more didn't cover up how I don't like this painting, so it's time to move on. San Luca again, beautiful like view. I mean, this painting is fine. It's nothing special really. Same with this little landscape from Torrey Pines, which is also like the La Jolla, San Diego area. This was like weeks after we had gotten back, so I think I have quite a few paintings of our trip there. Such as this one. This one's fine. This one I think I sat down and thought, I'm gonna really try to paint it a bit more than I was. I think maybe I didn't use I think this is with gouache, or dried gouache possibly. Yeah, it's okay. This is Cannon Beach, one of my photos from that I used in the very first video that I did, and yeah, it's fine. I just did a little monochromatic value study of one of them. It's no problem there. This is Astoria, Oregon, which, like, if you're familiar with the Cannon Beach area, It's like, it's on the way to Cannon Beach from Portland, if that's like the route you're taking. And I have like such cool and interesting photos that I took there. This was all from the same trip in like 2008 or 9 or whatever that was. But yeah, I don't know, it didn't translate well into this painting, so let's move on. This is just like, sometimes when I'm going to film, I know I'm going to film a certain reference, I just want to do like a quick little warm-up, or like not even a warm-up, but just like, I just want to wrap my head around the subject first. So this was just like a quick little attempt at the painting that I ultimately did for that video. And it's fine. It's not like as detailed or as careful as that video's painting turned out, but it wasn't meant to be. It was just supposed to be like me getting to know the reference and the subject. And this is Capri, and I think I had something, I don't know if you can tell the texture here. I don't know if the camera will pick it up because it's just white, but I think I painted something here and I didn't like it, and so I went over it with the Daniel Smith watercolor ground, which I love that stuff. By the way, I use it all the time. I've got the white and the buff titanium, and I'm a big fan of those two products, or that one product in both those shades. And yeah, sometimes if I just like really can't stand to look at something in a sketchbook, I'll just paint over it and I try it again. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know, you can tell yourself to learn to live with it, or you can get your page back. So I do both really. And there's plenty in here that I don't love. So I'm obviously okay with like just living with something that's not good. But I also sometimes I'm like, I do it and I'm just like, no, I can do that better, and I just want to do it better, and so I paint over it. This was one that I painted. I have like 3 pages in here that I put some underpaintings of acrylic gouache in like a really dark color, and this was one of them, and I hate it. I mean, it's fine. Like, I hate it though. I hate how dark it is because the underpainting was so dark, and I don't know. I was just playing around. This is the sketchbook for experimentation, you guys. Okay, so I feel like these pages here are like when things really started to turn. A corner was turned, if you will, for me in my mixed media journey. Not to say that everything after this point is like my favorite work, because certainly it's still up and down, but I did this of Fort Sheridan from my photo references, and I remember doing this and thinking like, aha, okay, I think I'm getting somewhere. Like, I think I'm getting it. I think I'm understanding like when to use the dry media and what is like, what are the right colors and stuff. I think one of my biggest struggles with the mixed media so far has just been like the inability to make my own colors, right? I don't typically look at paint, even though I love some of the pre-mixed convenience color paint colors, and I see them and I want them, but I just I don't feel the need to buy all of the colors because I can just make any color. But when it comes to the dry medium, like, I struggle when I don't have the right color already, and then I kind of don't know what to do about that. So that's part of this journey, is like either understanding what colors I need and getting them, or like figuring out how to make it work with what I have. So I was starting to get that here. And then this is the Indiana Dunes, again, a subject I've painted many times. I don't particularly love this one, but I think I actually used watercolor for this, like my Daniel Smith watercolors, not the Kiritake ones. This one is the Kiritake, and then this one is Daniel Smith watercolors. It's fine, but it was just another moment of kind of clarity for me, if you will. And then we kind of, I don't love these either. Well, this one I The next one is fine, but I don't love this one so much. I think this was just maybe not the right reference to use for what I was going for. But it's fine. It's just like the hilltops of Tuscany. So is this one, but I like this one a lot better. This, I actually painted a yellow underpainting, like a light butter yellow underpainting, and I really like the effect that that had on the rest of the painting. This is from a trip to Martha's Vineyard. These are not all trips I'm taking like right now. It's just that I keep every photo I've ever taken in my whole life since having a smartphone. So I have like a decade's worth or more, I guess more at this point. It's like 15 years of photos on my phone and on the cloud and whatnot. So these are just trips I've taken like over my whole life, and I certainly wasn't taking these photos with painting them in mind, but some of them just, you know, happen to work out well for that purpose. So anyway, this is Martha's Vineyard, and I love the photos that I took here over a decade ago. That's the only time I've ever been. It was really, really fun to paint these, and I keep painting these. This park, I forget what the park is called, on the island. I keep painting it over and over again. I've done it like many times. I'm still trying to figure it out. This is a subject that kind of eludes me, this particular painting. This was Fort Sheridan again, and it's where this is what I painted in the video before one of the other the other painting wasn't in the sketchbook. That's right, I forgot. This was what I did in the sketchbook. It was like right before the painting that this was the warm-up for. And I like this. This is actually only gouache. So this is kind of like how I normally paint. This is the only probably no mixed media in this whole sketchbook because it's only gouache. This one is kind of a funny random page that I have no real explanation for. I just really like to paint these little fish, and especially because I have these like metallic watercolors. I don't have very many. I just have like a silver and a bronzy gold. So I'm trying to see if you can see them, but I just always think that these types of fish are a good subject for using those metallic ones. I don't really use them otherwise because I don't really know when is a good time to use them. So I think that's why I did these fish. Okay, I hate these next two. Let's just move on quickly. I'm not much of an animal painter, but I would like to be. So I'm trying to paint, especially birds, a bit more. He's fine, let's move on. This one this was another, just me trying to get my head around certain subjects. So I don't love this painting, but it did help me a lot to do this, just so that I could paint it separately later. This is Acadia National Park. These are some treats I had, and I took this photo and I really liked painting this. It's not my usual subject to paint, but I had a good time anyway, and I still was using the Kuretake watercolors to do these. And then the next page has an underpainting of like a turquoisey green color, and I got it on the page and I was really upset about it, so I tried smudging it away. Luckily it didn't I was able to curve it around my dish. It kind of just maybe blends in with the background, but that was a mistake and I was sad about it. This one is one I did a video on, and like I said, it had this kind of like blue-green underpainting, and I do think that it having such a dark underpainting made the whole painting really dark. So I don't recommend it, and I won't be doing that again. Oh, but I do like this painting, and I have a video on it if you want to see. These are just some prairies that are outside of Chicago. They're like in Illinois. It's actually a buffalo plain prairie. We went and we did not see any buffalo, but I would like to go back and see if I can find them. I don't really have, it's fine. I don't have many thoughts on this. This one was the third of 3 dark underpainting. I don't know why they weren't all in the same, like they weren't all 3 consecutive pages, but yeah, don't like this either. This is the one I like the least. I think I actually gave up on this. This doesn't really feel like finished to me. Okay. Next, this is from Iceland. A photo of Iceland. I went with a friend in March of 2018, I think. And had a blast. Freaking loved being there. But yeah, this is like, I don't actually know where specifically this was, I forget. But I love to paint mountains and I had a good time. And I like how this turned out. This is northern Italy. It's a town, it's called Sirmione, and it's in kind of the north of Italy by Lake Garda, which is like one of their major lakes. And I actually love this reference a lot. I think this is cool how I did it. They're kind of like very opposite from each other. This one feels very clean. This is like majorly the watercolors, the Kirotake watercolors. And then I think only the houses are really like colored pencils. I don't really see anywhere else that I've done it. There's a lot of transfer going on. I should probably put paper between the pages, but this is kind of the opposite, where I think I had like a very simple base layer of paint and then I went to town with all of my dry media, and I still think it turned out okay. I've also painted this since, like with oils, and I like how that turned out. And I think I have several paintings, or I have several photo references from my time here, so I may do something with those later, especially in oil. This is Torrey Pines again, which is in like the San Diego-ish area. It's a little farther from San Diego. It's like next to La Jolla, which is next to San Diego. I like how this turned out. This actually was like this one worked really well for me, and I was really pleased when this one was done. And then just by pure coincidence, it kind of looks like these are like one continuous painting, but they're not. This is a completely different day, completely different photo reference of the Indiana Dunes, which I love to paint, and I can't stop, won't stop. And yeah, I like how this turned out. This is just some waves. I do like to paint water and waves and the ocean. I find that it's like a very enjoyable subject for me. Back to Fort Sheridan. Yeah, this is like a place of endless inspiration for me. In fact, we were just there 2 more times recently, so I've just been gathering endless inspo and photo references. This is from like a while ago, last summer, but I have a whole bunch of new photos and footage for this year. Plus I'll go back and paint in person. Okay, this is, I'm just hiding because I wrote where it was for some reason. This is actually what I painted in my week of plein air for Plein April. It is like the backyard of my mom's house, and this I didn't actually end up filming because it was like the first day that we got there, and sometimes I just want to like get my bearings and do my own painting and not film it. And but this one was plein air, and I really like how this turned out. I think this looks great. It does have a little colored pencil with it, I think. I didn't bring many colored pencils on this trip, but I brought like just a small handful, and I think that's what I've used on the highlight here, over top of some paint as well. Yeah, I like how this turned out. It was like a a sunset, or yeah, I think the sun was setting. I'm skipping the next page just because it is of something that's in the front of my mom's house. So I'm not gonna show that. These next two are kind of like, they also look like they're one continuous painting, but they're not, they're separate. I won't spend a lot of time because actually these both are in the Plein Air Pro Week video that I did. So these are some trees at a park, and these are also some trees. And actually this one's not a park, but it's like near the house, and then these are trees at a park nearby, and they're both plein air. They're both plein air, and I like them. They're fine. Yeah, they're good. Dislike the next two quite a bit, but that's okay. This was me messing around with some pan pastels, and not by no means is this like me showing how I use pan pastels, but I went over top with colored pencils, and that was where things went awry, and I don't really like it. Plus the subject is just really boring. This is Camelback Mountain in Arizona in Scottsdale. Maybe. I don't love how I did this. I've painted this before and done a much better job, so I don't know. It's fine. This one, I'm filming things at the same time, so hopefully this will have come out already as a video. And I just painted this on the couch. A lot of these are painted while I'm hanging out on the couch. This is one of them, and I filmed that process, and I'm kind of a little annoyed because I feel like the DJI footage wasn't very good, and especially in like how it captured the final painting. So this is what it really looks like. I feel like it was so washed out in that video, so I'm not sure how to feel about that footage. I have also filmed this next one, and I would love your opinion if you don't mind. This is just a photo from Torrey Pines. Again, like I said, this was like very recent, so I'm painting a lot of my photos from that trip. It's also just such a different landscape to what I live nearby, so I'm enamored with a lot of the photos I took. Anyway, I also painted this on the couch and filmed it, so maybe I'll pop in like a snippet of footage now. Take a look at this. Let me know what you think. Is this worth posting? I feel like it doesn't look great, and I hate to post a video that I don't feel super good about the footage. So let me know if you'd like to see it despite the kind of bad lighting that's going on. I would be happy to post it because I really love how this painting turned out, and I would love to share how I did it. But if you think it's like ugly footage, I won't post it then. I also filmed this one. This one's not like my fave though. I mean, it's fine. It's just a tree from the highway. Happy to post this footage as well. This one we're not going to talk about for too long because I hate it. This was my like first kind of attempt at acrylic paint markers. Let's move on. Okay, this is a plein air painting I did in Southwest Michigan. I have a whole video on how I painted the next few. So there's this one. I really like how this turned out a lot. There's this one, which I did like the full painting process on, and I like how this turned out a lot. It did rain while I was painting, so you can see this kind of speckly texture, but it just happened to be like on the cloud, and I think that's really cool. Or like in the sky, this bloom, I'm calling it a cloud even though it's like water bloom. I think that turned out really neat, and like I love the effect that it gave, so I'm not mad about it at all. But yeah, it also share this one. This one was a trickier one, not just because it was like way bigger, but because the fog came in while I was painting and completely obscured my subject. So that was cool. I had to do some of it like just kind of blindly. Fine. I think it's okay how it turned out. This was the next day. Finally, it was like the only really beautiful day that we were there. And this was just the top of the dunes looking down. I really like how this turned out. Yeah, I wouldn't mind painting some more things based off of this. I think this was that same day as the nice day, but at this point we had driven away from the lake and we were just like in Holland, Michigan, I think. And we, I think there was just like some little pond area. It wasn't the lake, or it was like kind of a river. We just pulled over and I painted there. There were a lot of other people there, so it wasn't like a weirdo spot. This is another attempt at the sunsetty La Jolla Shores references that I have, and I think this is a much better attempt, and it's fine. I like it. I like how it turned out. It's okay. This was a plein air painting from Fort Sheridan, and I remember being like kind of unhappy with it at the time, like the day that I did it. I still don't love it, but it's fine. It's better than I thought maybe. Not painted on location, but I do have a lot of wildflower footage and photos that I definitely intend to do more paintings from, and probably make some videos from. But I spent a little time like painting the wildflowers that I saw, and I really like these first two. I don't mind these next two, but I wish that I had just done them in the same way as the first ones, where I did like close-ups of the flowers rather than like bunches of the flowers from a little bit farther back. I think I just prefer how those first two turned out. Alright, this is another field from Fort Sheridan. I like this one, although I think I could have used a little more contrast just somewhere, either in my trees or maybe in the foreground. But I think it turned out okay. It was just like another quick little couch painting, and I never put too much weight on those. I just, they turn out cute usually, or they don't. Same with this one, another little couch painting of a tree. This is not my best tree, but it's fine. Whatever. Okay, and then the last thing I have is another La Jolla Torrey Pines painting with some colored pencil and neocolors over top. It's okay. I don't like how round everything is. I think that's my problem with it. I wish I had started with a really good shape here, and then as I kept going over top, I kept kind of like getting out of the line and getting out of the lines that I had, so then I ended up just making it all very round, which I don't love. That's okay. I don't dislike it. I like the color usage here, and there were some things that I feel like I figured out well, and I'm happy with. So that is my sketchbook, and I have already gotten another one of these in a different size, so I'm excited to use that. I think I have a few other sketchbooks I'd like to maybe get through before I start in that one, but let me know if you liked it. I definitely want to do more sketchbook videos of like maybe my more traditional painting style as well, just like with gouache or with oils. I have some oil sketchbooks too. Let me know if you liked this video, if that sounds interesting to you. If you have questions like about this notebook or sketchbook. I also would love to do like a few videos on maybe my favorite sketchbooks, or like the tools I bring when I go painting on location. If any of those sound interesting to you, or if you would just want to know more about things you saw in this sketchbook, let me know. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye!